I was reading about the end of the Civil War, and it's way more complicated than people realize.
Oh,
There's
yeah?
this guy, Wilmer McLean, who had the war start in his front yard and end in his living room.
Wait, what? That's insane.
Yeah, it's like he just couldn't escape it. The first Battle of Bull Run happened literally on his property, so he moves to
No
get
way.
away from the war.
Makes sense.
And then boom, Lee surrenders to Grant in his new house at Appomattox Courthouse.
Unbelievable.
Talk about bad luck.
Poor guy probably felt cursed.
Exactly. If irony had a face, it'd be McLean's exhausted expression. He just wanted some peace and quiet.
So, the surrender took place in his house?
Yep, right in his living room. And get this, Lee shows up dressed impeccably, like he's attending a ball, while Grant arrives in a muddy uniform, totally casual.
That's quite a contrast.
Yeah, but despite their appearances, the meeting was cordial. Grant offered generous surrender terms. Well, Confederate
Like
soldiers
what?
could keep their personal belongings and horses, and they wouldn't be punished.
That's surprisingly lenient.
I know, right? Grant probably wanted to help heal the nation. But here's the thing. News of the surrender didn't reach everyone right away. Some Confederate forces kept fighting.
Oh? Because they didn't know it was over?
Exactly. No instant communication back then. In Texas, General Kirby Smith held out until late May.
Wow.
And some even hijacked a ship to Brazil to start a new South.
Seriously? That's wild.
Yeah, imagine losing a war and thinking, let's just start over in South America. It didn't work out, of course.
So what was Lincoln doing during all this?
Well, Lincoln was planning Reconstruction, looking forward to reuniting the country.
Right.
But then, just 5 days after the surrender, he was assassinated.
Such a tragedy.
John Wilkes Booth, an actor, shot him at Ford's Theater. He thought he was some kind of hero, but he broke his leg jumping from the balcony.
You know, focusing on Booth's broken leg kind of downplays the impact of Lincoln's death.
You're right, sorry. Lincoln's assassination was a devastating blow to the nation.
Absolutely.
It had major implications for Reconstruction.
So who took over after Lincoln?
Andrew Johnson became president, but his approach to Reconstruction was, problematic.
How so?
He pardoned many former Confederates and allowed Southern states to pass laws that severely restricted the rights of newly freed Black
That's terrible.
Americans.
Sounds like it undermined a lot of progress.
Exactly. It led to bitter political battles with Congress. The struggle continued.
And the soldiers returning home?
They faced ruined homes and economies. Confederate currency was worthless, and they had to start over.
That's rough. What about the newly freed slaves?
They faced discrimination and harsh laws. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but equality wasn't immediate.
Of course.
The fight for civil rights continued for another 100 years.
And in many ways, it still continues today.
Absolutely. The end of the Civil War was just the beginning of a long struggle.
Indeed, it's a reminder that history is complex and doesn't fit into neat endings.
Exactly. Wars rarely have clean conclusions, and the aftermath can be just as challenging.
Yeah.
So if there's a lesson here, maybe it's that moving away from problems doesn't always solve them. Just ask Wilmer McLean.
Perhaps the only escape would have been moving to a desert island.
Maybe so. But then again, you never know. History might find a way to follow you there too.
True. Well, this has been a fascinating discussion.
Agreed. It's important to understand these intricacies of history.